Well, good afternoon and welcome back to this month's Plugin Roundup for April 2019. My name is Nathan Ingram. I'm the host here at iThemes Training, and I got a fun list of plugins for you guys and ladies today. Make sure you have this handout, which is available there in the chat room, or if you're watching this on the replay, just click the download handout button and you'll have this document ready for you. So we got a good handful of plugins this month. I kind of like this list. So let's just get started. Again, we'll be working over at wpnathan.com, and we got them installed and ready to go. So we are going to start out with a nice little plugin called iWidget, visibility control for widgets. Now, how many of you are iThemes Training old timers, and you remember when we used to talk a lot about widget logic? Widget logic, that's a great old plugin for WordPress. And it's a lot of fun because it lets you, using standard WordPress logic, display logic, say, if single, then it would display on a single post or page and that sort of thing. It was always a great plugin. It was a little complicated because you had to know the syntax and so forth. iWidget makes this a little easier to deal with. So let's go into iWidget and activate that one. Backup buddy needs to update. All right, so iWidget needs to activate, so we'll do that here. And good to go. So let's move over to our widgets now. And notice that there is now a little checkbox here at the bottom of all of my widgets. And if I check that, it gives me a nice little user interface to select lots of different cool combinations of when this search box ought to display. Now, currently, on this theme, I have page 4 set up with a sidebar. So there's my search right there in the main sidebar. And I can say only show the widget if I'm logged in. So if I do this, then that's my use case. And then I open up a private window and go to that URL. Look, no search box. Pretty cool, right? Just that easy. And there's lots of different combinations here. So you can say the user is or is not logged in. Like I could do is not logged in, and that's going to change everything. Boom, now we got the search, right? We could change this to say the user role is something that's defined on the site, so only show it is or is not that particular role. We've got, oh, look, let's see. The post type is not, one of these. And, of course, this works with custom post types and everything. So show it if it's not a page. So that should make this go away. Yep. But if I go over here to my blog, which also has a sidebar, look, it is there. So lots of different options here. You can even say the page is or is not the front page or the blog page. You can say the URL equals something or starts with, ends with, contains. So wildcard features here. And the other, if is or is not mobile, how about that? That's pretty cool. So lots of different options here. Not only that, you can stack parameters. So you can say let's say the user is logged in and the page is the home page. So there you go. Heather's asking, how does it compare with widget options? Widget options is another good plugin that does something very similar. I kind of like the UI of this one a little better, but they do basically the same thing. It's your preference. So, widgets are kind of, sort of drifting away with Gutenberg and then page builders and so forth. But you know what? There's always the need every now and then for a widget. Like, in some themes, you've got the ability down here in the footer to have widget areas really easily and so forth. So, widgets are around for a while now, and they were not going anywhere for any time soon. So this is a nice little plugin that can let you deal with how you handle your widgets. So here's widget options, and we got some fans for the dinosaur logo. And yeah, it's very similar. So, it's got a bunch of options, but and this is worth looking at as well. They're both good plugins. I kind of like this UI a little better. You could choose and or, that sort of thing. So totally up to you, but a nice little plugin to have in your back pocket if you need to change when a widget is displayed. So there you go. Any questions or comments more about if widget? P. Taubman, note on sidebars. I remember when home pages had sidebars and they seem to be going away. Yep. When we started really getting a lot more mobile traffic, sidebars have sort of been pushed to the side, you might say. Yeah. So, yeah, sidebars are really kind of going away as a design strategy because, you know, on a mobile device, this sidebar is going to get pushed to the bottom. So now it's gone all the way to the bottom, and it's not as easily seeable. So if you want stuff to be seen in a sidebar, you probably ought to put it on the left, because that way it's going to render first on a mobile device. All right, any other questions on this one? Yeah, rather than designing with sidebars, we're really designing in layers now, stacked on top of each other. That just tends to work better in mobile. Okay, moving on down the list to read more login. Read more login. Now, how many of you have been, maybe you see a URL or some post or whatever is shared on Facebook or some other source. You go there and you get about 2 paragraphs and you have to log in to see the rest. And that's a little annoying. However, I have a friend that is a reporter for a local newspaper, and they do this all the time. They put their content behind the login wall. Not a paid login, just, you know, they want your email address so they can send you stuff. And you have to sign in to see the content. And he said it is incredibly effective. They've collected hundreds of thousands of email addresses this way. And so, you know, they get their list built up and they can send them stories about, you know, that relate to the story they logged in on. Pretty cool stuff. This is a plugin that lets you do kind of that with WordPress. So let me activate Read More Login. And let's see what it's going to do. So we are going to get a new menu item here. And you've got a lot of options on how you want this to display. But basically, here's what it's going to be like in your content. You can set how long you want the content to go, and it sort of fades out with a box that you can log in or register. Then it reloads the page, and your content goes in. So here, Marianne, let me show you how it works, and it's going to answer your question. So we got a bunch of options here. We can show it as a register or whatever. There's some different styles here. Do I want to enable the text fading or not? How many lines do I want before it starts fading? So you can set all of this. Do you want it to be a login or just a registration form? That sort of thing. So we can see how that looks. So you got all this stuff, right? And basically what you do is, at whatever point in the story you want it to occur, you just drop in the short code. So Marianne's question was, can you put video behind it? So let's go to a page with some video. Let's see. Page 1 has video, but it's at the top. So let's do this. Let's go over here in a text mode so we can grab that URL, and let's put the short code and then the URL maybe here, and update the page. Now, here's the trick. I fiddled with this for a while, and I'm like, why isn't it showing me the login box? And duh, it's because I'm logged in already. So don't be an idiot like I was and wonder why it's not showing it to you. Go in an incognito window. And now look, okay, there you go. The video is there, but you can't see it because the short code is in front of it. So now we have to log in here. And I'll just log in somewhere. Gosh, I'd really like to find the login for this site. There it is. And look, it reloads the page, and there's the rest of the content. Isn't that cool? So it's super easy to use. It's just a short code you can drop in the middle of content, and there it is. Right? Pretty nifty stuff. And yes, as always, all of our webinars are recorded. This will be the URL where the replay is available. And at the top of the iThemes training site at training.ithemes.com, there is a link called Free Upcoming Webinars. Whoops, that's the wrong link. Free Upcoming Webinar, Free Webinar Library. And there you can always see all of the old previously recorded webinars. They are there for you. Question is, does it likely to get a lot of spam logins? Well, that's a good question. Let's see. Security, access. I wonder. I'm looking to see if it is going to give us a CAPTCHA or not. Don't see it. It'd be interesting to see if iThemes security might catch this as a form and add a CAPTCHA into it. Let's see. That I don't know. If you use a CAPTCHA plugin that lets you drop in the CAPTCHA with a shortcode, maybe. But that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Email form to verify. Yes. So you can turn on email verification if you want to. I'm not there it is. Enable notification. That's administrator. Let's see. Where is that? It's in here somewhere. I saw it the other day. Access. Oh, this is nice. If you leave this unchecked, it's going to keep the search engines from scanning the content. So just be aware of that. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. Yeah, it's in here somewhere. I have to find that setting again, but it lets you verify whether the email is correct or not. So that could weed out some spam. Anyhow, pretty cool plugin, right? If you have a content-heavy site and you want to encourage people to give you their information before you give them the access to the content, that's a good one. Any other questions about Read More Login? All right, moving on down the list then to Quick Link for WordPress. Quick Link for WordPress. Now, this is I played with this, okay? And I think it really makes a difference, although it's kind of hard to tell. So what this plugin does, Google Chrome Labs has been working on a project to add some JavaScript to a page that looks at the page and sees links that are on that page and goes out in your browser after the browser is idle from loading the page. It then uses the browser to preload all of the next links you might click on. So it's all cached, and that way when you click on it, boom, it's there. So that's a bunch of stuff Google has been working on. It doesn't just work in Google Chrome. It works in other browsers as well. But all you have to do is activate this plugin, and there's not even any settings. It seems to make subsequent clicks quicker. So like as soon as this page stops loading, boom, it stopped. It's now going to be scanning all the links on a page and preloading what might be coming up next. So if we click on page 2, look how quickly that loaded. Did you see that? I think it's faster. That is totally anecdotal. I have no hard data, but it's a teeny tiny JavaScript, so it doesn't add, adds very, very little weight to the site. Now the question is, try it in an incognito window. Actually, I'm going to do better than that. I'm going to do it in a different browser because we were just in Chrome incognito. So this is Safari. Yeah, I think it's faster. But it'd be worth playing around with. And so I give you this as something to look into for yourself. But might be a pretty cool little thing. Definitely something to play with. There's no settings, but yeah, experiment with it and see if it doesn't make a difference. This is especially helpful on like a blog list like this, where all your posts are there. And it's going to take people to kind of work their way down. By that time, all these posts are going to be loaded, and boom, look at that. Pretty quick, I think. Ben is asking, does it use HTTP 2? So a plugin can't use HTTP 2. It's all dependent on the site and the server. So my server supports HTTP 2, and so it's all, yes. But if the server you're on doesn't support HTTP2, this plugin isn't going to change that. That's a server root level server function that has to do with Apache or whatever server operating system you're running. The other thing I'll tell you is if your server is not running HTTP2, you need to talk to your host because that should have been implemented a long time ago, and it makes a difference because what HTTP2 does is it doesn't have to, so in other words, old school HTTP1, when you loaded this page, I'm going to load the content and then the style sheet and then the image and then this image and then blah, blah, blah. HTTP2 lets it fill multiple requests simultaneously, so it's a lot faster. So you definitely want to make sure that your server it supports and is actively running HTTP2. All right, next on the list. Any other questions on this one? All right. Next on the list is a plugin called Subpages Extended. Subpages Extended. Now, how many of you have sites that have parent and child pages, maybe several levels deep? And isn't it nice to have a little automatically generated menu over in a sidebar or in the content or wherever that just shows the subpages of that one for nice, click back and forth ability? Well, that's what this plugin does. There's several plugins in the WordPress directory that do this. This does it very nicely. So let me activate this one, Subpages Extended, and let us go to widgets and drop in the widget for Subpages Extended. I'm just going to put it here in my main sidebar, and we get a ton of options. So I'm just going to call the title Subpages, and I want it the subpages of the current page. Now, you could say, give me the subpages of whichever page you choose, and it'll do that too, which is kind of cool. You can decide what the rel, no file, no index. Do you want to exclude any page IDs from this? So you got a lot of options. How do you want to sort it? By post title, by page ID, whatever. You got a ton of options here as, ways to do this. So how deep do I want this to go? Let's go 2 layers deep because as you see here, I've got some child pages set up. So we're going to save this and I'm going to go to a page that is called parent page. And there is my list of child pages. Look at that. And so there's all the subpages of this particular page. Now, if I go to child page 1, look, it only shows the subpages of that one. Isn't that nice? Or we can change the depth to 1. And here on this parent page, it only shows the top levels and not the 1A, 1B, and so forth. So pretty nifty stuff here if you've got a site that has some hierarchy in the pages. Now, note also here, look in the content what I've got. There is a short code here called subpages. And notice there's some arguments here. You can say, don't show the page I'm on. Is it a child of what page ID? So the options that are in the widget, you can still do here in the short code, but simply putting subpages even drops this right into content. So there's a lot of nice ways to provide some good internal linking through a parent-child page hierarchy. Pretty cool, right? Jana's saying you could actually add more than one widget. Yes, absolutely. So let's say we want to only show the child pages of child page 1 in this one. And we'll say child 1. And let's add another one. And we'll call it subpages of child 2. And we want to make it, well, it should be child 3, actually. Make the depth 1. Save it. And boom, look at that. Pretty nifty, right? So this is certainly not for every site, but if you have a site with lots of different hierarchies, there you go. It's a nice way to show things pretty simply, and it's dynamic if you choose to do so. Now, the neat thing about this is because we selected which page it's on, when we go to another page, even outside the hierarchy, it still stays there. Now, if we had chosen, child page of current page, then it wouldn't have anything here because page 4 has no child pages, But look at the options. There's several dynamic ones. Do I want to show the full branch of all the page and all of its underneath? Do I want to show the subpages of the parent of the current page? That's kind of interesting. Let's do that. Let's do the parent of the current page for parents' child pages. So if we do that and we go back to our, one of these right here. Okay, so I've gotten some caching issues going on here. Child page 1. All right. Look, so we're on child page 1. And now it's going to look at the parent page and see all the children of that page. See, pretty cool. Jan, you could use it for sort of a sitemap, maybe. You'd have to have some hierarchy set up, but it's pretty nice here. It's a nice way to set up some navigation. Any other questions or comments on this one? That is Subpages Extended. I think it's pretty cool. Deactivate these. All right. Moving down the list to one of a few of these plugins that I've shown over the course of time here on the Plugin Roundup, and that is Secure File Manager. Now, we've done some of these in the past, and I always give this kind of plugin with the caveat, you really don't want to leave this on the site because it is potentially a security risk. But what this does, I mean, if you remember the old Windows File Manager, especially from the olden days, that's what this is, but it's inside of WordPress, and you can move and copy and upload and edit files. Some of the ones like this that we've done in the past, and if you've been on Plugin Roundups, you probably remember some of these. You may also have noted that some of those have crippled their functionality and put them into a pro plugin. Can't really blame the developer for doing that, but here's one that works, and it also gives a couple of features that we have not seen before. Now, by the way, the reason this can be super helpful, a plugin like this, is how many of you have needed to access a site for maybe it's a new client and it's a rescue site or something, and they just need something changed, and you can't upload a plugin like Backup Buddy to get a backup of the site or whatever. This is such a, because you don't have FTP access, this is such an easy way to do that because it just gives you a file manager interface right in the back end of WordPress. And there it is. Look at that. It looks great, right? I mean, you can drag and drop. You can, look here, right-click and edit the file. So you get, oh, that's terrible colors, but you get the idea. Let's see if a different editor exists. Code Mirror. Yeah, that's prettier. So you get a file editor, save as, close, all that. So you can do all of this stuff. Look here, we can even right-click and upload files. Look at that. We can delete entire plugins. It's just like we have FTP access right here in the back end of WordPress. Now, the question is, what about hidden folders and files? And that's a good question. I didn't think to ask. So let's go to the public HTML folder. And I do not see the htaccess file here. So it's not showing dot files. I wonder if in this mystery meat navigation, there is a way to show dot files. I don't see a way. Well, that's kind of weird. That shows how much stuff is there. I don't see a way to show dot files, so nope, can't do that. Preferences on menu, right click. I don't know, maybe. Hide preference. I think that's for the, yeah. I don't know what I just did. We just broke it. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Now we've broken it. Okay, I don't know how to get that back. Okay, so don't do what I just did. Let's see if it keeps it. Oh, we're screwed. I don't know how to fix that. Okay. So wow. Okay. Interesting. That's gone. I don't know how to get it back. Maybe it's one of these. Okay, that's gonna have to be some research to figure out how to get that back. Oh boy, Cheesehead is asking any way to get a copy of the database. No, that the database server is usually in a totally different location than you have access to, even in the file tree that I just made disappear. Oh boy, how do we get that back? That's a problem. Okay, I don't know. So, okay, don't do that, what I just did. That was bad. You cannot refresh the page because it's saving that in preferences somehow. You could probably delete and reinstall the plugin. Okay, but let me show you what else you can do here that's really cool. You may have just seen under settings, look, you can turn this off for the client and only enable it for administrators. So that is cool. Not only that, look at this. You can specify which user IDs have access. So I can put just my user ID there, and only I have access to Secure File Manager. So let's just do that because we can, because that's kind of nice. And my user ID is not being shown. All right, we need to show IDs. Hang on, we need to add a plugin called Show IDs. And there are a bunch of these now. The 99 Robots one is the one that I like now. The old Simply Show IDs still works, but hasn't been updated in a while, so I've stopped using it. That will give us our ID here. So my ID is number 1, which is not a good idea. Probably need to change that. So let's go to Secure File Manager settings, limit it to just number 1. That's me. So if I don't have user switching set up either, so let's add that real fast. We'll install user switching. So when we switch to this other administrator user, look at that. Oh, they do have access. Well, that's no good. That's not working at all. Man, I just loaded that up and it was going to be great and it totally failed. All right, let's try the editor user. All right, so the menu item is there, but you can't get there from here. So there you go. So you get some security there. One more thing I want to show you, and this is maybe the killer feature of this plugin. I don't like this mystery meat navigation up here because you kind of have to mouse over and press the button and hope for the best. But look at that. There's a tooltip. Mount network volume. How many of you have wasted so much time downloading files from one server and uploading them to another, and it takes you forever? Maybe you've got a jillion photos in some FTP location or whatever. Look at this. Click the button. Look at that. If you have FTP access to the remote location, put it all in, and it's going to mount it as another drive here, and you can copy with this plugin server to server. Isn't that awesome? And it zips right across. So you eliminate having to download them and upload them. You can simply go server to server. Isn't that cool? So that, to me, is the killer feature. You know what, John? I bet you're right. John suggested we uncheck administrator and then just have access to number 1 over there. So let's do that and switch to our other administrator user. And nope, still works. It was a good thought. It was a good... Oh, no, wait a minute. It's still me. I didn't switch correctly. Why didn't that switch? Switch to. I think my user switching has gotten confused. Let's try this one more time. Switch to test. All right, now we're test. And nope, it still works. So that's what to let the developer know about that. Oh, it didn't disable administrator in my settings? No, you're right, it didn't. Let's try that again. Still didn't. Interesting. Okay, so we got an issue there. That's something that we need to make the developer aware of, so I'll send in a little support note after we wrap up here today. But still pretty cool plugin. Again, this is not one that I'd want to leave on the site for the long term. Do what you need to do and get out of there. Right? But for what it does, that is a pretty stinking cool plugin, I must say. So that is Secure File Manager. Any other questions or comments on that one? Paul, yeah, server to server doesn't even come through your machine. So you mount the FTP location. It kind of shows up as a remote drive, and you can just copy right into your server. So it just copies server to server. Super fast. All right, moving on down the list to a few of our simple but useful plugins for the month. The first one here is CH Easy Word Count. Now, how many of you are blogging and you're watching your word count on blogs? If you are, here's a nifty little plugin that does one thing and one thing well, and that is put the word count in the plugin in the post list. So we've activated it. We go here, and there it is. The number of words right there in the list. And look, it's sortable. There's my longest post. There's my shortest posts. So if you are a counter of the words, yes, sure, you can edit the post and you can look at the bottom of the editor and you can see the number of words right there. But this way lets you see everything at a glance and even sort by those number of words. So simple but useful. Really, really easy. P. Taubman, is this a resource hog when first installed? I don't think so. You saw how quickly it just jumped right up. WordPress is counting that number anyway in the post editor. Not sure if that's stored in the database anywhere, but it just pulls it right out. And it does it so quickly, I can't imagine it's examining all the content, counting the numbers. That number must be stored in post meta somewhere. So pretty cool, right? If you're a content person, that's one you might want to add. Questions or comments more on the CH Easy Word Count or Cheesy Word Count? I don't know. All right, next one. Simple but useful plugin number 2 is No Update Nag. No Update Nag. Now, it is helpful to know if your WordPress version is out of date, right? And it puts that nag right here at the top that says, you know, such and such version needs to be updated. It looks like this, right? This is old. WordPress 3.9 is available. It is, and it has been for quite some time now. But you know, we've all seen this notice, right? That's not a notice I want the client to see, because I may not want the client to update. Let's just say, for instance, in a purely hypothetical situation, let's say that perhaps a major version of WordPress was released that, you know, for some reason had a continental size change to, oh, I don't know, let's say the content editor, right? If that might happen in a purely hypothetical situation, I don't want the client to see that and update it already if I'm not ready to support it. So simply add this plugin and that update nag goes away. Now, this is fine, especially if you are using a dashboard like iThemes Sync, because it's going to show up. It doesn't make the update go away, and it's still actually going to show up under the updates link, but it's just going to make that nag go away at the top. So it's a nice way to get rid of that for the client in case the client might click it. Now, I've also said, by the way, in this for this particular plugin, this is another one of those single function plugins. And a lot of these simple but useful plugins that I've given you in our lists over the last months are that way. And I've talked about this in the past, and I don't want to belabor this. I'll show you real quick again for those of you who've never seen this, but you could very easily remove that single function and drop it in your functions.php or in your own custom functions plugins or your own MU plugin. I'm not going to get deep into this, but I do just want to show you how easy it is to do that. So we've got the plugin here, and we're just going to download it. It's going to come down to the desktop, and there it is. So there's our zip file, and we open that up, and there is typically the name of the plugin is the PHP file. The index.php is usually just silence is golden. And there's our PHP file for the plugin. I'm just going to open this up real quick in my code editor, and all this is commented out. And if you look down here, there's simply one function right there. That's it. It's going to remove the action for admin notices and network if you're using multi-site. All you have to do is copy this over into your functions.php or your custom functions plugin, and boom, You don't have to have the plugin installed at all. It's a simple one function plugin. So you can move that yourself if you want to. That's a little more advanced. If you're not comfortable fiddling around in the PHP, don't break your site. But if you've been around here enough and you've seen how that works, you could real easy move that over to your functions. Any other questions or comments on that one? Okie dokie. Moving right along to WP Lorem Ipsum. Now, we've done some of these plugins in the past. This one's a pretty good one. So WP Lorem Ipsum, basically, if you need to fill up your site with some dummy content to see like maybe how your blog grid looks or how pages might look or whatever, this is a nice way to do it. So you activate WP Lorem Ipsum, and here under the settings, you have one single little bit of UI here. Do we want to create 5 to 30 posts? Let's just create 5. Let's make them posts. Are they, what status? We'll make them published. Who's the author? Me. And yes, we want to add a post thumbnail. Click the button and done. Look at that. We have now 5 posts created here. If we view one, it has a featured image already. This, by the way, is coming from the Unsplash. Oh, I didn't even add that in here. No, yeah, here it is. Unsplash.it, the Lorem Pixum. By the way, if you've never seen this, it's a nice little resource. Lorem Pixum, pixum.photos. But it's out of the Unsplash library. It's attribution 0 required, so it's all good. But it puts it in there, and it's, you know, so now I can look at my blog page and see all these posts. And not only that, but look at that, they are in the media library, these images. So it just pulled them right in, and the posts got added, and there they are. So you can add from 5 to 30. You can call them posts or pages. By the way, this also works. Let's activate a couple of things that give us custom post types, such as pods and WooCommerce. We've got those set up and going. So we already have a custom post type set up in pods called stuff, and WooCommerce has its products, of course. And so if we go under here, look at this. You can even, let's create 5 stuff posts or 5 products and choose the featured image, and it'll create custom post types for all, whatever you want to do, custom posts in that post type. Barbara has a question. Do you need to remove the featured image, or is it yours to use? You can use it. It's an attribution 0 required image, so it's there. The only thing that's not great is the file name is randomimage4.jpg. Now, so I've noted that here. It's random image number whatever, and so you might want to go in and have a plugin to change the file names here. Otherwise, you get a weird. You have to go in and address the title. But it does give it a title. It does not give it alt text. So if you want to keep the image, you need to do some sprucing up. But yeah, this pulls them right in just randomly from Unsplash. And if you want to delete stuff, well, we can just go in here and bulk select our images, go into posts, and bulk select our posts, trash them, and we're done. When you actually start getting your real content in there. So that's WP Lorem Ipsum, pretty nifty little plugin. Works really easily, really well. Any other questions or comments on this one, WP Lorem Ipsum? Okay, moving down the list to Show Me the Cookies. Show Me the Cookies. Now, Show Me the Cookies, it does a really cool thing of showing you what cookies your website is dropping on users' machines. Most of us know what a cookie is. It's a simple text file that contains some information about the user or about the website to help us interact better with that user in some way going forward. Now, I would also venture to say that most of you have no idea what cookies your website is dropping. True or false? Do you know what cookies your website is dropping? Probably not. this will show you what cookies your website is dropping. So let's go down to show me the cookies. It is activated. And I think it is it appearance? It's in a weird place. Where did they put that? Oh, no. Oh, yes, it's under appearance cookies, which I don't know why they put it under appearance, but there it is. There's a list of the cookies that my site is dropping. So there's a PHP stuff. This is all server stuff, and then this is WordPress stuff. Now, if you wanted to even get even more interesting, you could go to, let's just edit one of these pages here. We can drop this shortcode in, and on the front end of the site even, we can show not only what cookies are being dropped, but what the values are for me as a user. So there's my login username and then the hash that is used for my particular user. If we look at this in incognito, see, there are no cookies for me. Interesting, right? But because I'm logged in, all this stuff is collected. Now, here's something else interesting. You can also, where was it? Right here. You can filter out all the WordPress cookies. Like, show me cookies that are not WordPress related. And it's only going to show the server related ones right there. And browser related ones. Interesting, right? Marianne, does it use a cookie? No, but it knows what cookies are being dropped, and it can access the data on those cookies to spit it out. So pretty nifty, right? So if you ever want to know what cookies your site is dropping, there you go. The other thing I'm going to do is log out here real quick so that I don't forget, and then this video goes up and somebody hijacks my session ID and tries to do something nefarious. There we go. John, what is the practical application of this? So you can know maybe you've got plugins that are dropping cookies that you aren't aware of. And in this day of privacy, when we need to be careful of what information we're collecting about the user, this can show you if maybe there's an unexpected plugin dropping a cookie collecting information that you weren't aware of. And just for funsies, there's a pretty high geek factor to this. Okay. Anybody else on this one? Yeah, Marianne could be useful in a privacy policy, for sure. All right, moving on down the list to force refresh. Does anybody here have a page on their site that is updated fairly frequently with new information? And if you do, have you ever wondered how many people, I'm sure none of you do this, but I'm told that people like us that work on our computers a lot tend to have browsers open with 863 tabs open all at the same time. And we forget to go back and look at those maybe. And maybe somebody is going back through old browser tabs and they have on that tab an older version of the site. And the information is not correct. That's where force refresh can come in really handy. Let me activate force refresh and watch what happens. So there are some settings, or is it under tool? Yeah, tools. And I've checked the box here to show it on the admin bar. But let me just get an example up here. And I'm even going to use a whole different browser just for the heck of it here. Let's use page 1 as our example. Let's edit this. Actually, don't edit this page yet. But let's go to, in this other browser, wpnathan.com. This is Firefox. Whoa. Okay, that did not go well. I had it open on my non-Retina browser, and it totally wigged out on this Retina screen. Okay, that's not good. Let's go back to that Safari browser. 1 second. So we get a totally different browser. Okay, there we go. So wpnathan.com. Let's go to page 1. All right, look, say we got this short code in there, right? Now, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to take that short code out. And, of course, when I update the page, that doesn't update it here unless I click Force Refresh Site. And let's watch here, because within about 30 seconds or less, this is going to reload the page automatically. It's going to force the user's browsers to reload. One day, very soon. Don't make a liar out of me. Come on. There it is. I didn't touch anything. And look at that. The page refreshed. So we use this on a local municipality site that puts live election results. And when we post some new stuff, we can refresh the page. So you could refresh the whole site, or each individual page and post has a meta box to force a refresh. So it pushes it out and causes browsers to refresh. Now, certain browsers that may have certain security features turned on might prompt the user to say, the server is wanting to refresh this page. Do you want to refresh? And you could say yes or no. But most people, standard browser installs, they're just going to refresh, just like I showed you. So that's pretty cool, right? I kind of like this. So we could go in and, add a picture, change the content, do whatever we wanted. There's a cute dog. Let's put the dog in there. Update. And let's use our refresh button here for just this page. All connected browsers will refresh within 30 seconds. So we'll wait just a momentito and we will see Safari do its refresh and a dog shall appear. One day, very soon. Not touching anything. Not touching. No hands. It's going to refresh. There it is. All by itself. Look at that. Pretty nifty, right? So, again, kind of a small use case for this, but keep this one in the back of your mind because you might have a need for this one day. I think it's pretty cool. Any questions or comments on Force Refresh? Force Refresh. Okay. Let us then move on to one of my favorite plugins of the Roundup, which is called The Paste. The Paste. This is I'm not quite sure how they actually did this, but this is a neat little plugin that I think brings a level of functionality to WordPress that hasn't existed before, for especially the novice user. Because what this is going to let you do, wouldn't it be cool? Most people, if they want to copy an image into WordPress, they copy the image and just paste it, right? But it doesn't work, right? This is going to let you copy image data from a screenshot, WordPress, Adobe Photoshop, GIMP, LibreOffice, Word, and some others. You can click that link and find them. But I'm just going to show you what I mean here. I've got Photoshop open here, and I am going to just grab a, let's see, what can I open that's a image? I have an image here that I can show you. I know. I will open up my folder of pictures of me. I just changed my social picture, and I'm going to drop that in here. So, by the way, I've lost 70 pounds since December. I'm on a fitness journey, and this is actually even about 20 pounds ago. So I got to get a new picture. So, all right, we've got this picture, and I'm going to select all and copy. So I just copied this to the clipboard. And normally, if I was going to just add a page, did I activate that plugin already? Let me make sure I did not activate the plugin. The Paste. I did not. Okay, so now if I try to paste, see, nothing happens because it's an image on the clipboard, right? So it's not going to just paste like that. But let me activate. Okay, let me activate the paste. And now I have to reload the page just to be sure. Okay. So it gets the plugin added. Look at that. It pasted the image. Now, not only that, but look in the media library. Voila, it's there. Now, it doesn't have a great file name, but it's there. Is that not cool? So let's do this. Let's go to our Word document for today. Let me get that up on my screen. And look here. Let's say we want to, oh, how about this? Oh, this will be even better. Let's copy this whole thing, including the image. I haven't tried this before, but it should work. So I'm going to Control-C, copy, paste. Okay, that did not work. But if I just copy the image, look at that. Boom. And if I look at the media library, there's my logo. P. Taubman, what is the easiest way to change a file name? Great question. There is a really nifty plugin called Phoenix Media Rename. And when we activate this plugin, we can take ourselves over to the media library. We can click on here, and we can, hang on, where is it? Right there. Just type the new file name right there. How easy is that? Well, that didn't work. Yeah, it's super easy. Totally didn't work. That's interesting. I'm not sure why that didn't work. That usually does work. All right. Yeah, okay, so it worked. I'm not sure why it didn't work on the other page. It did work right here on the individual image name. Let's see. Is there a button I have to click? Rename. Yeah, you can't just hit enter. That's why. But you can, look, you can do these in multiple. So rename and retitle, you can do it that way. Let's see. Does it change on the rest of the site? That is a great question. No. So you'll have to do a find and replace on that. Or actually, you know what? I don't know, because we didn't have this published. So that's going to be a broken image, probably. No, it's there. How is that showing the image when it doesn't exist because we renamed it? Okay. I'm confused. That's interesting. So it's still there, but it's not. All right. I don't know the answer to that. That's going to require further study. Interesting. I don't know if there's a redirection. Oh, wait. You know what? No, I don't have redirection set up on this site. I don't know. That's a good question. That's one for further research. Yeah, I'm not going to have time to research that one. If one of you guys wants to get creative and research that one, I would welcome the answer. But that is really interesting. I don't know why that's happening. There's probably a simple explanation, but anyway, that is the paste. If you have users that are non-technical and want to copy and paste images out of something else into WordPress, boom, there you go. Any other questions or comments on that one? All right, number 10 or so. I think it's 10, 11. Okay, this is a cool plugin. This is one that is by the Beaver Builder team. You do not have Beaver Builder to use this. This is a really sweet little plugin that, Beaver Builder is pushing everything towards editing on the front end of the website. I love that. My clients love that. Assistant aims to bring some WordPress functionality to that same sort of interface. So let us activate this. Assistant is really kind of a platform for additional plugins that they're going to build. Now, when Assistant is active, notice there's the little Beaver Builder pencil down here. So we're going to click that, and the Assistant interface opens. Whoop, look at that. Okay, so look what we've got here. I'm currently viewing the home page. I can edit the page. Here's the recently edited pages that I've been to. Here's comments that have been made recently. I can go straight to those. I can unapprove it, view it, spam it. I can reply to it right here. Look at that. Do I have any WordPress updates? Nope, I'm all up to date. So lots of stuff here. I can go directly to that particular page if I want to. Edit it right there. Here are my different content pieces, posts, pages. I can go to any of those from right here on the front. I can look at categories, tags. Here's my images, which I can open up and delete if I want to, or view, or edit. Or I can look at this. How handy is this? Find the image I want here, copy the URL. How many of you have had to go back and forth from the front end to the back end looking for an image URL? I have. It's a mess. Right there, copy the URL. Does it detach? That is no, currently does not detach. Here, look here. Here's user management. So I can edit this user. It's all right in here. By role. And this is the cool part. Beaver Builder is going to work on lots of different apps, and I'm sure this is going to be extendable for third-party developers as well to add all kinds of cool apps into this assistant. And we got some preferences, so you can reduce the motion here so that it doesn't bounce around quite as much. Panel position, left edge, right edge. Those are your only two options right now. But I'm going to talk to Brent Jett, who we've had here on iThemes training for Beaver Builder courses in the past. He's the lead developer with Beaver Builder, and I'm going to mention to him how cool it would be to detach this. The challenge is it's related to the tab that you're on, right? But maybe having it detachable where it's draggable or something like that. You couldn't have it on another screen, for example, because it's, at least that I'm aware of. Maybe they could in some sort of a different window, but this is like a modal window. It's attached to it's a child of this browser tab, more or less. Or maybe put it below. Yeah, so some differences in the UI. They've said, if you read the description here of the plugin, that, hey, we're just getting started with this. It's an early preview release. And it's a nice little overview video here. I'd encourage you to watch it. This is the beginnings. It's going to be a platform for more stuff, but I love the direction they're headed here. And this is, even if you don't want to install it yet, it is absolutely one to watch. So that's Assistant from the Beaver Builder team. I think it's pretty cool. Any questions or comments on this one? Paul, we did a whole review of the Beaver Builder versus Astra versus GeneratePress themes. in the Beaver Builder developer course, I am a fan of Astra as an all-purpose theme. The Beaver Builder theme is just fine. It is a little more limited, doesn't have quite the features that Astra does. I am building all of my sites on Astra these days. Any other questions or comments on Assistant? Okie dokie. Couple of fun plugins and we'll wrap things up. Here's this month's obligatory Hello Dolly replacement. Any Park and Recs fans out there? Park and Recs fans in the house? Anybody? This is Ron Swanson quotes. So we'll activate this. And at the top of every page, we get a fun little alert with a Ron Swanson thumbnail and like Hello Dolly, but a little more Ron Swanson-y. There you go. Every page gets a new one. 1 to 3 friends is sufficient. These are great. So if you're a Park and Rec fan, or if you have a client that is a Park and Recs fan, you want to give them this plugin because it'll make their day. Also, I love this. The features. Displays Ron Swanson quotes on your WordPress admin dashboard. You're welcome. And believe it or not, there's actually a publicly available API of Ron Swanson quotes. Somebody had way too much time on their hands, but there you go. Anybody going to use this one? All right. One more and we're done. How many of you have played the dinosaur game on Google when you get something broken? The dinosaur game. That's this one. Surely you've seen that one. So let us activate the dinosaur game. And I'm just warning you, I may be sending you down a rabbit hole. I think I put this out on a page already. Let's see. No, I didn't. So we'll drop it on. Let me just find a page to put this on. We'll put it on page 1. We are using dinosaur-game shortcode. On any place a shortcode can be entered. Did I activate it? Yes, I did. Oh, whoops. There's a space. Helps put the right shortcode when you add a shortcode. Now, here we go. We're going to play the dinosaur game. And I forgot how we start it. Oh, there we go. Okay, he's going. So we press the space bar to jump, and everything we jump, it starts getting a little faster. Made it to 100. Here we go. This is weirdly satisfying to play. So this could be a fun little addition to your 404 page to keep people engaged. A lot of fun. So you could really end up wasting a lot of time doing this. So I don't recommend it other than, see, I just can't seem to make myself quit. There we go. So I ran face first into a cactus. But there you go. Does the dinosaur does it have any kind of resource hog? No, this is such a simple little, I don't even know what this is made out of. What is this? Oh, it's Google, it's a canvas, so it's just a little JavaScript app. It's teeny tiny. No, I think this would be fun to put on a 404 page or elsewhere. Simple drop in with dinosaur-game, and there you go. I forgot to pull in the quote. But check that out. It's a lot of fun. Use the space bar, the up key to jump. There you go. And you hit the space bar up key to start. So that's it. Boom. The dinosaur game. So that's it. We have reached the end of another Plugin Roundup here on iThemes Training. April 2019 is in the books. Now we wrap up with that ever popular question. Which of these plugins was your favorite? One vote, please. One vote only, because we do go back and pull these in. All the votes do matter, because when we do the semi-annual best of, I go back and rewatch and see which ones you guys picked. Favorite plugins: Force Refresh, Subpages, Media Library, Assistant. Let's hear it. Your vote. Another for Assistant. One vote only. If Widget. Force Refresh. Give me your vote. What was your favorite? You guys are quiet today. Need more votes to make this more scientific. Anybody else? Your favorite plugin of the Roundup? Close call with the dinosaur. Lorem Ipsum. Another vote for Force Refresh. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. We do have some really cool webinars coming up if you haven't seen yet. We've got several really good ones scheduled. I want to strongly encourage you guys to be with us on Thursday at 1 o'clock Central, because April Weir will be with us talking about overcoming your fear of sales. Overcoming your fear of sales. April is awesome. And I've met her at WordCamp Atlanta a while back, and she's on the WordCamp circuit. And this is a fantastic talk I've heard her give before, and you guys will absolutely love it. She has some great tips. Also coming up on the 18th, Tuesday, the 16th, is iThemes Security Essentials setup. That's going to be good. We do this periodically, going through all the settings of iThemes Security so that you know what's going on there and answer any questions you have about the use and setup of iThemes Security. Michael Moore will be back with us for that one. Joel Kletke. How many of you guys enjoyed Joel the other day when he did the first copywriting workshop? He's great and really, really good guy. He'll be back on the 23rd, Tuesday. That's a couple weeks from today, talking about 10 things you should do right now. Nope, that's wrong. 10 conversion copyright killing mistakes and how to fix them. So that's a week from this coming Thursday. Sorry about that. We got a little scroll down happening. But yeah, 10 conversion killing copy mistakes. That's going to be a really, really good webinar. You'll also note that the copywriting workshop is coming up at the end of the month with Joel. So make sure you get information about that. Another security webinar coming up at the end of the month, 10 things you ought to do to secure your website. One more I'll mention. We just added this one. Cliff Almeida from Web Audits is going to be with us to talk about getting more leads and closing deals with website audits, using website audits as a lead generator. Cliff is a super sharp guy. You guys are going to enjoy learning how to use web audits in your sales process. So a lot of stuff coming up for April. Make sure you've signed up for all those that are out there. And we'll hope to see you next time here on iThemes Training, where we go further together. Have a great rest of the week.